The cheap clothes, the cheap shoes, the plastic handbags, the face cream. Hi everyone, a couple of weeks ago, and if I can find it, I'm going to link to it below, we are going to be talking about my time as a shopaholic and things that I used to buy that I do not buy anymore because they were a massive waste of money, and I learnt the hard way on it and got into loads of debt figuring out that these things were a waste of money. I'm also going to be talking about luxury because I'm talking about this from the point of view of me several years ago, but some of you, obviously, if you watch me, you'll know that I'm into luxury, and as I've got older, I've sort of grown out of it. I do buy things now, but it's like the odd thing here and there. I'm not spending the way I used to just because it doesn't interest me anymore. But I need to credit another YouTuber for this video idea, and if it's really annoying because I remember her username's got lemon in the title, and I remember seeing her video flash up on my homepage and I was like, oh my god, that's a great idea. Definitely, without doubt, when I was a late teenager, early 20s, I had a shopping problem. I had a shopping addiction. I loved that. I think I almost got like a buzz when I bought something. And I've spoken to you before really openly about how I got into so much debt with this sort of like habit, I want to say, and felt this urge very frequently to sort of like treat myself. But I never bought anything that had an intrinsic value, and this is what really annoys me, is I got into like so much debt for junk that I don't even own anymore, except for some like really tacky juicy couture bracelets that I've shown you before. But these are the things that I used to spend my money on that I stopped spending my money on. So the first is makeup palettes. I would watch people on YouTube who did makeup videos, and I would sit there and make notes of everything they'd used, every brush, every palette, every foundation, and I would be desperate to get to the shop to go and buy all of those items to recreate the look. But one look was never enough. They'd do another video the next week and I'd do the same thing. And like one creator that I've spoken to you about who I absolutely loved, and I still follow her now, is Makeup by Tiffany D. She used to do these videos where she was sat in her closet, and she used to do really easy to follow makeup using MAC cosmetics. And I was really new to MAC at the time. This was when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. And I used to run to MAC on a lunch break to go and buy the stuff in her latest video. That's something I stopped doing. And you know what's really annoying now is in my vanity table, it's all got like drawers in it. Each drawer is crammed full of makeup palettes where I either never use them because it was like green, blue, yellow eyeshadow, and I'm like, what were you thinking? Looks great on YouTube, but in real life you can't really wear that. I can't anyway, it's not really my thing. Or like, do you remember the Urban Decay Naked palettes? I bought like 3. And I don't use them. I use the same makeup palette every day, and it's an old Tarte Cosmetics makeup palette. And out of the 12 colours in it, I use 2. The next thing that I really cracked down on was fast fashion. So I used to do this thing where I would go into New Look, or it was like always like New Look or Primark or even Zara. Zara's got a lot better in recent years, but I'd go into these fast fashion places and I would buy the latest styles of things. But because they're fast fashion, for the most part, they're junk. You wash them a few times, they fall apart. And I used to buy clothes that would just not stand the test of time. And this is what I'm talking about. At least I still have the eyeshadow palettes, although most of them are, well, probably all of them are out of date right now. But when it comes to the clothes, they all went to landfill. Well, I don't actually give them to landfill, I give them to a textile bank, and then I guess they recycle them. Wallets and small leather goods. I've said to you before, I've actually got it in here at the moment because I'm having a tidy up at the moment, but I've got a box in the corner that's full of luxury, like designer wallets, card holders, purses, etc. And I stopped buying designer small leather goods a long time ago. They were something that when I first got into luxury, I used to buy because they were more affordable than a bag. I didn't have the money for a bag when I first got into luxury, but I could just about scrape together a few £100s to buy a wallet. And what I started to learn the hard way on is that wallets, because you're using them all the time, they get scruffy very quickly. They get damaged and ruined very quickly. And I remember buying my first ever Chanel card holder. And I remember it was £250. I mean, that now would be like a lot more than that. But I remember buying it. This must have been 2011, 2010. And I love it and it's in good condition, but it's in good condition because I noticed the wear on it. So I stopped using it. The best thing to do, guys, it's different if you've got the bags and you want a nice wallet, go for it. But if you're buying the wallet because ultimately you want the bag, but you can't afford the bag right now, but you want that fix, you want to be able to go into Chanel or Dior or Fendi or wherever and buy the wallet, please don't do it because the wallet's going to look scruffy so quick. Oh my God, the next one is a big one for me. Synthetic PU handbags. And I want to say shoes as well. So when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I couldn't afford a designer bag, of course. And I used to buy loads of my handbags from River Island. Now, I don't know what their quality is like these days, and I don't know whether what I'm going to say brings back any memories for any of you guys, but do you remember on the cheap handbags that what used to happen is like the inside would flake off in big chunks, almost like they'd lined the inside of the bag with plastic and then they'd painted over the top and the paint would crack off and come off in big lumps. So I used to buy these River Island bags. They looked really pretty. They weren't designer, but they looked really pretty. But fundamentally they were plastic. And I'd use them for not that long and they'd fall apart, the handle would come off, the inside would start going nasty. You'd take your wallet out and there'd be like cracked up bits of paint all over it from the lining of the bag. Do any of you remember how bags used to do that? What was that? I mean, I'm talking 2000s, okay? 2005 or something like that. The next thing that I really stopped buying was for my ego. I never knew the word for this, except for when I saw a post about this about a year ago now. You know when you go into a shop, just imagine you've walked into a shop and there is a beautiful gown. Or if you're a guy, there's like whatever you're into, like a suit or something stunning. And you look at it and you imagine yourself wearing it and how amazing you'd feel and how you're going to stun everyone in your gown or your suit. And you buy it and you get it home and it's cost you a fortune. And then it sits in your wardrobe because you've got nowhere to wear it. And you didn't think that when you bought it, because when you bought it, you were so caught up in your ego of, I'm going to look amazing wearing this, that you just bought it. You didn't think, yeah, I might feel great wearing it, but where am I going to wear it? Is there going to be am I going to get value out of it? How many times a year can I wear it? What can I do with it? And I used to do this more so with designer shoes. Christian Louboutin, I want to be specific with. I like a Louboutin shoe. I have bought a few pairs of shoes in recent years, but I buy flats now, like loafers or sneakers or like ballet flats, because I know that's what I'm going to wear. I would really like, right now, a pair of the Miss Z heels. You know the new ones that have come out, and it's like meant to be a comfier version of So Kate. I really want a pair of those, but I know I want them for my ego. I wouldn't. Where would I wear them? And then just 3 more things that I stopped buying. Designer skincare, waste of money. Why was I buying designer skincare? Okay, so going back years and years and years, one of my friends at the time, she had her own place and we were all living at home. She was like the only person that had her own place and she was doing really well for herself, and you'd go into her bathroom and she'd made her bathroom so cute with designer skincare. The pots that things come in, the wrapping, it was part of the aesthetic of her bathroom. it gave a luxury feel to her bathroom. She had like, you know the Chanel skincare that comes in square pots and it's got the double C on the lid? She'd have those dotted around. So I used to go and buy a lot of Chanel skincare, and it wasn't right for my skin because I wasn't buying it for my skin. I was buying it for the pot. I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I was buying designer skincare not for the product but for the pot it came in. I was buying like anti-aging skincare at age 19. I mean, stupid. The final thing that I stopped doing because I couldn't afford it, but I've gone back to it again because I can, having my nails done. So I'm talking about when I was like 19. I used to go for, you know, like the millennial long French tip nails that were square, and they had really awful sort of like, some of them had nail art on them where you just have the ring finger done, you know, that kind of thing. I was obsessed with acrylic nails, and I would go to the places where they would use the electric drills, and my natural nails were in a shocking condition, and I hated when they removed the acrylic and my natural nails like hit the air and they felt so thin and so brittle, and then they get in there with the drill on my natural nails and it made me cringe. And I didn't have the money for this. I don't know how I was finding the money. Well, I was putting it on credit cards. That's how I was paying to have my nails done. Did I need to have my nails done? No. Could I afford to get my nails done? No. But it's something that I treated myself to. It's something that I felt that I deserved. And I invested in my own gel nail kit. Now, I only started getting my nails done professionally in 2024 spring, and I did it because a new nail bar moved in town, and it was not one where they use drills. Everything's done by hand using hand files. So by this point, doing my own nails, can you believe it? I had trashed my own nails because I was like picking the gel off because it wouldn't come off, and I'm impatient, and I'm like, and then trying to paint your right hand with your left hand. This hand always looked a mess. Anyway, I go into this place, they did my nails amazingly, and my own nails are now in such good condition. Like, I've got long nails, but they are my own. So in summary, this is what I want to say. The things that I used to waste my money on, I don't own any of those things anymore. The cheap clothes, the cheap shoes, the plastic handbags, the face cream, the acrylic nails, they're things that I dumped so much money on, and I don't own any of it. If I had taken that 20,000 and invested it, if I had taken that 20,000, well actually it was 40,000, and even just bought a Chanel classic flap in whenever, 2000s, for whatever it was back then, I'd be laughing right now because they're worth so much now. But I didn't do that because I felt that buying 10 bits of rubbish was better than buying one thing for the same price. Does that make sense? That's really what I was doing. I would rather blow 3K on like nights out, nails, face creams, cheap clothes, than just go and buy a Chanel classic flap. Like, if you're gonna go and waste money that you don't have, just do it. I'm not telling any of you to do it. I'm talking for myself. But that's what I'm saying. So they are all the things that I did as a shopaholic, and I would love to know from you. Did you go through this phase? I feel like it's something that a lot of people I know went through it when they were a lot younger, and I mean, I know people that still go through it when they're older. But I would love to know, what did you waste your money on? Did you get into debt? How did you get out of it? You know, I've done videos on that before, but let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.